My name is Maya Reyes, and I never imagined a trash can would end my quiet suburban life. Every Tuesday morning, my bin lay tipped over, garbage scattered across my driveway like a warning. Then I learned Deborah Callahan, our HOA president, had been doing it herself for weeks. What I found inside her garage that night would end her reign forever. I'd saved 3 years to buy my little brick house on Willow Creek Lane, proud and exhausted. My daughter Sophie loved the cul-de-sac, the maple trees, the quiet evenings after long nursing shifts. Deborah Callahan ruled the HOA like a queen, measuring lawns, counting mailbox flags, judging every neighbor. Everyone whispered about her fines, but nobody dared challenge the woman in the red blazer. One Tuesday, my trash can lay knocked over, lid cracked, garbage spread across the sidewalk. I assumed raccoons, until Mrs. Alvarez next door mentioned seeing Deborah's white SUV idling early. The next fine notice cited unsightly waste disposal, signed personally by Deborah Callahan herself. I paid it, confused, telling myself surely the HOA president wouldn't stoop that low. The following week, it happened again. Garbage bags slashed open, coffee grounds smeared across concrete. Sophie cried, embarrassed, walking to the bus stop past our humiliated, ransacked front yard. I emailed the HOA board, requesting cameras be reviewed near the community mailbox kiosk. Deborah replied instantly, insisting problem raccoons were common and cameras wouldn't help anyone. Strange, since our street had never had a single raccoon complaint before that month. Another fine arrived, $700, for repeated disposal violations nobody could actually verify. I confronted Deborah at a board meeting. She smiled and called me overly sensitive, dear. Other neighbors shifted uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact, clearly familiar with her intimidation tactics. Afterward, elderly Frank Dobbins pulled me aside, whispering that she'd done this to him too. Frank showed old fine letters, eerily identical wording, dated 3 years before mine began. A pattern was forming, but I had no proof, only suspicion and a growing dread. For 2 weeks, nothing happened. My trash can sat quietly, untouched, almost suspiciously peaceful. I relaxed, thinking maybe Deborah had finally moved on to torment someone else instead. Sophie's laughter returned, and our small yard felt like ours again for a while. Then Linda, the HOA treasurer, called, sounding nervous, asking if we could meet privately somewhere. Linda revealed the violation fines, all routed through a private cleanup company Deborah secretly owned. My $700 hadn't gone to the HOA reserve fund at all. Linda feared losing her job, but said her conscience couldn't stay silent any longer. That night, my trash can was overturned again, this time set completely on fire. Firefighters arrived quickly, confirming accelerant had been used, calling it deliberate arson, not accident. Officer Ruiz took my statement, but without camera footage, there was little he could do. Deborah sent flowers the next morning, feigning concern, calling it such a terrible neighborhood incident. Her fake sympathy made my blood boil more than the fire ever could. I decided enough was enough. I would catch her myself, with undeniable proof this time. I bought a hidden camera disguised inside a decoy trash can, wired to my phone. Frank offered his backyard as a second angle, still furious about his own old humiliation. Sophie asked why Mrs. Callahan hated us so much. I honestly had no real answer. I told her sometimes powerful people fear losing control more than they fear doing wrong. That night, I placed the decoy can exactly where the real one always stood. At 2 a.m., headlights crept down our street, engine cutting off near my driveway silently. Through the camera app, I watched Deborah step out, gloves on, flashlight in hand. She dumped a bag of rotting fish heads straight onto my porch, smiling to herself. Then she scratched a slur into my car door, glancing around like a practiced criminal. My hands shook, but I kept recording, refusing to make a single sound outside. She circled back, kicking the decoy can hard enough to dent its hidden camera housing. The footage kept streaming anyway, capturing her face clearly under the street lamp's cold light. Before leaving, she pulled papers from her car, planting them inside my mailbox quietly. I later found forged violation notices, backdated, meant to justify fining me even further. This wasn't a rogue moment. It was calculated, rehearsed, disturbingly familiar to her routine. I realized Frank's old letters and mine matched because she'd been doing this for years. I called Linda immediately, sending her the video, my voice trembling with adrenaline and rage. Linda gasped, saying the emergency board meeting was already scheduled for Thursday night. I spent the next 2 days quietly gathering Frank's letters, Linda's records, and my footage. Deborah, unaware, kept texting me passive-aggressive warnings about community standards and proper behavior. I said nothing back, letting her believe she still held all the power here. Sophie asked if we were in trouble. I promised her Mrs. Callahan was the one in trouble. Thursday arrived. The community clubhouse packed tighter than any meeting in Willow Creek's history. Deborah took her usual seat at the head table, red blazer sharp, smile confident and cold. Linda caught my eye, nodding once, signaling it was finally, completely time. My heart pounded as I stood, laptop in hand, thumb hovering over the play button. Before votes tonight, I said, I'd like everyone to see something about our HOA president. I hit play. The projector filled with Deborah dumping fish heads onto my porch. Gasps rippled through the crowd as her face appeared clearly under the streetlight glow. Deborah shot up, shouting the footage was doctored, demanding I be removed immediately. Frank stood next, slamming his old identical fine letters onto the table loudly. She's done this before, he said. To me. 3 years ago. Exact same handwriting. Linda then revealed the financial records, tracing my fines directly to Deborah's shell company. The room erupted, neighbors shouting over each other, years of quiet resentment finally surfacing. Deborah's nephew Kyle, a board member himself, quietly slid his own resignation letter forward. Officer Ruiz, called earlier by Linda, entered, requesting the footage and financial documents as evidence. Deborah tried fleeing through the side door, but 2 neighbors blocked it, arms crossed. She was arrested that night for arson, harassment, and embezzling HOA reserve funds outright. The board voted unanimously to remove her permanently, erasing every fraudulent fine from record. Kyle later admitted Deborah had pressured him into silence, threatening his own home's HOA standing. Deborah pleaded guilty months later, ordered to repay every stolen dollar plus damages owed. Frank finally got his old fines refunded, and Willow Creek elected an honest new president. Sophie now waters our flowers freely, and my trash can sits proudly, untouched, safe. The END.